Okay, we are now in the next chapter, is background information. It's question and answers. This is not coming out so well. Report from Iron Mountain. Okay. The thing is, it's too white, and the light reflects too much. Anyway. Now this is a question and answers kind of thing. You've got the author of this book who's questioning John Doe about his involvement with this study group. Okay, it says, the following account of the workings of the Special Study Group is taken verbatim from a series of tape-recorded interviews I had with John Doe. The transcript has been edited to minimize the intrusion of my questions and comments as well as for length, and the sequence has been revised in the interest of continuity. How was the group formed? The general idea for this kind of study dates back at least to 1961. It started with some of the new people who came in with the Kennedy administration mostly, I think with McNamara, Bundy, and Rusk. They were impatient about many things. One of them was that no really serious work had been done about planning for peace. A long-range peace, that is, with long-range planning. Everything that had been written on the subject before 1961 was superficial. There was insufficient appreciation of the scope of the problem. The main reason for this, of course, was that the idea of a real peace in the world, general disarmament, and so on, was looked on as utopian, or even crackpot. This is still true, and it's easy enough to understand when you look at what's going on in the world today. It was reflected in the studies that had been made up to that time. They were not realistic. The idea of the special study, the exact form it would take, was worked out early in '63. The settlement of the Cuban Missile affair had something to do with it, but what helped most to get it moving were the big changes in military spending that were being planned, plants being closed, relocations, and so forth. Most of it wasn't made public until much later. I understand it took a long time to select the people for the group. The calls didn't go out until the summer. Who made the selection? That's something I can't tell you. I wasn't involved with the preliminary planning. The first I knew of it was when I was called myself. But 3 of the people had been in on it, and what the rest of us know, we learned from them about what went on earlier. I do know that it started informally. I don't know what particular government agency approved the project. Would you care to make a guess? All right. I think it was an ad hoc committee at the cabinet level or near it. It had to be. I suppose they gave the organizational job, making arrangements, paying the bills, and so on, to somebody from the state or defense or the National Security Council. Only one of us was in touch with Washington, and I wasn't the one. But I can tell you that very, very few people knew about us. For instance, there was the Ackley Committee. It was set up after we were. If you read their report, the same old tune, economic reconversion, turning sword plants into plowshare factories, I think you'll wonder if even the president knew about our group. The Ackley Committee certainly didn't. Is it possible, really, that not even the president knew of your commission? Well, I don't think there's anything odd about the government attacking a problem at 2 different levels, or even about 2 or 3 government agencies working at cross purposes. It happens all the time, perhaps. The president did know. And I don't mean to denigrate the Ackley Committee, but it was exactly that narrowness of approach that we were supposed to get away from. You have to remember, you've read the report, that what they wanted from us was a different kind of thinking. It was a matter of approach. Herman Kahn calls it Byzantine. no agonizing over cultural and religious values, no moral posturing. It's the kind of thinking that Rand and the Hudson Institute and the Institute for Defense Analysis brought into war planning. What they asked us to do, and I think we did it, was to give the same kind of treatment to the hypothetical problems of peace as they give to a hypothetical nuclear war. We may have gone further than they expected, but once you establish your premises and your logic, you can't turn back. Kahn's books, for example, are misunderstood, at least by laymen. They shock people. But you see, what's important about them is not his conclusions or his opinions, it's the method. He has done more than anyone else I can think of to get the general public accustomed to this style of modern military thinking. Today it's possible for a columnist to write about counterforce strategy and minimum deterrence and credible first strike capability without having to explain every other word. He can write about war and strategy without getting bogged down in questions and morality. The other big difference about our work is breadth. The report speaks for itself. I can't say that we took every relevant aspect of life and society into account, but I don't think we missed anything essential. And we'll pick up this in the next video. And keep following along. We have a few more questions to answer here.